An energy source you may have really never considered for your own home is filled with financial incentives federally and both in Illinois and Iowa. Solar energy. Larry Steffen from Eagle Point Solar joins us now with more on this, and it sounds like this is the time to get going on this stuff, Larry.
Well, between Iowa and Illinois, there are some tremendous incentives that are out there for people to potentially take advantage of. One of the bigger things that had happened over the last couple of months is in the first stimulus package, the federal investment tax credit was scheduled to go down on January 1st, and it was extended for an additional 2 years. So people can take advantage of a 26% federal tax credit through the 2022 tax year. And that was a large step, and it was included in the first stimulus package. And we're very pleased about that, and that covers everybody in Iowa and Illinois.
Yeah, that's so that's fairly new. So if you went for solar right now, you could still get in on that big tax credit.
That is correct.
Yeah. So Larry, we have some great video of what this is about, how it looks on a home or a business. Larry, I know we're talking to people now who have never even thought about it. Everybody's heard of solar power, but they just don't think. They haven't thought about it for their own home. What's your best pitch for why we ought to give it a consideration?
Well, it's great because what people are primarily looking for is a mechanism to lower their electricity bills, okay? And that's probably the biggest reason that people will look at it. And then an ancillary benefit is obviously it's good for the environment. They also have the reduction, of their carbon footprint. But using myself as an example, I have a solar array on my house, and I have not purchased electricity for a little over 4 years. I like getting electricity bills that have very little to no money on it. And then, that's what people are looking for. They're definitely looking to save money. We obviously can help them in those types of projects if they choose to. Some people are specifically looking for whatever incentive that they might.
Sure. Yeah, we'll definitely talk.
Eligible for, but it's primarily I want to lower my electricity bill. I want to take advantage of the incentives, and then it's the right thing to do for the environment. And today is Earth Day.
Yeah. Right. Happy Earth Day. Larry, what I want to ask about, the video that we're looking at shows these multiple arrays, these solar square panels, lots of them on big buildings. I think you said you just have one array on your home. Is that what most of us would need? Or tell me why we're seeing so many of these panels on some of these buildings. Is it just the size?
Yeah, it is, because what we do as a company, we do a tremendous amount of residential arrays, which, a residential solar array is going to be smaller, but a huge part of our business is commercial, and it is absolutely tied to the amount of electricity that they consume. Most people will look at a solar array to say, what's the most that I can eliminate my electricity bill based on the utility policy of my location? And if you look at the Quad Cities, whether that's, on the Iowa side or the Illinois side, Ameren and Mid-Am, they have extremely friendly solar policies, that allow people to build that. And another thing is they don't restrict the size. So everybody has the option to build it as big as they want to, assuming that they have room for it.
Okay.
That's why in some of these, when I talk to people, I initially talk to them about the process and the concept of saving money. And at that point, I really don't know if they need, 10 solar panels, or 5,000. Once again, it depends on the customer. And that's why we take them through an analysis process so that they can make the best decision for themselves.
Well, what's the maintenance on this, Larry? I think people might be wondering if, is it a one and done that, I've got solar power in my home forever? What needs to be done maintenance-wise?
Well, it's interesting because, once again, it depends on the one that you build. The vast majority of the solar arrays that we build just sit there. There's really not a lot to do with them because there's no moving parts. It's either sitting on your roof somewhere or potentially sitting on the ground. So what you might have to do is some people will spray the dust off of them. Some of our farmers will do that after the planting season and after the harvest season. Some people will scrape snow off of them. But from a general maintenance standpoint on day-to-day, there's very little to do, with the exceptions of potentially checking, connections. Because here where we live, I'm in Dubuque, you're in the Quad Cities, we do have temperature fluctuations because it does get hot and it does get cold.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have temperature fluctuations, some of the connections could potentially come loose. So that's something that we would check on an occasional basis. But overall, there's very little maintenance to a solar array because it just sits there and collects the sun.
Well, built to last for generations. That's your byline at eaglepointsolar.com. And so, Larry, we have up the info right now, and I know you're big on the free estimates. And I think people would be very interested in just mainly having somebody come out and looking at my particular home, my particular situation, and then you can advise from there. You do a lot of that, right?
That is correct. When we talk about the free solar analysis, it's a really simple process because what we want to do is we want to gather information about their utility bill, and specifically to find out how many kilowatt hours of electricity that they're consuming, because then we will sit down and physically do the math for the homeowner or the business owner and show them what the math is to say, okay, this is how much you use, this is how many solar panels you need, and this is how much the cost is, and here are the incentives, and here is the payback. And as we take them through their process, they can make a very well-rounded, educated, financial decision about whether or not this makes sense.
Okay.
And yes, we do that as a free service to anybody that wants us to do an analysis.
Larry, thank you.
We've done that for the 11 years we've been in business.
Congrats. Good to talk with you.